All right, hold on. Got it.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I'm really excited. I have been reaching out to you. Well, I'm first going to introduce you. This is
Okay.
Monique, and
Hi, everyone.
you and you're from Never with a Roadmap?
Never a roadmap.
Never a road.
And just for the name, never a roadmap. My thought process on that is just in life, not just travel, but
Right.
life, that there's just never a roadmap. And I think we all try to follow roadmaps and we try to have a plan and we try to have a vision. And invariably it never goes exactly there. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is in life, whether that's a relationship, whether it's raising children, whether it's travels, there's always a bump, there's always a detour, there's always something. So just my philosophy is a little bit of a, like, yes, I have visions, but I never truly have a roadmap that I'm
Right.
following. Like I have to do this and I have to do that. And I have to, so I kind of let that go. So that's what never a roadmap
Well, it
means to
reminds
me.
me, I love that joke. I always say, do you know how to make God laugh? Tell him your plans because
And I love that. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
exactly it.
Exactly.
You never know. And
Exactly.
so let's tell them where you are. So I'm sitting here, like I said, at my mom's with fake grapes behind me. And where are you?
And I'm in Bali, and
Bali.
I love Bali. So this is maybe I've lost count. I feel bad, but it's either, I believe it's my fifth time to Bali, and in the last 2 years, maybe my third or fourth time. So it is someplace that I love coming back to, and yeah, we can get more into it. But it's a very
Right,
feminine, yeah, it's a
right.
very heart-centered, beautiful place.
It's been on my bucket list. I told you I'm going there with my girlfriend in November,
Yeah,
and I cannot wait. And
yeah.
I think that's when I first saw you on Instagram because it's funny, I don't use Instagram much anymore. Like I'll just
Uh-huh.
go through every once in a while. You know how each of us kind of have our own social
Yeah,
media
yeah, yeah,
thing that we
exactly. Yeah,
pick
yeah.
because you're on social media and you're on Instagram. Is that where you mostly do your social media?
Yeah, at this point, I feel I've been feeling a little bit more connection personally because it's a two-way street. I think social
Right.
media a little bit,
It is.
and so Instagram for me has just been where and I think that's because I do like taking photos.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too. But TikTok, I have a larger audience, and I haven't necessarily been posting much on TikTok. I'm in the process of trying to get myself back into it, but I have over just over 100,000. I have over 100,000 followers on TikTok, but I'm in the every time I post I lose followers category at this point. So
Oh,
I'm
it's
in the
funny
process
because
of
I
redoing that.
I don't think I got to look you up on TikTok because
Okay.
I thought that you were only on Instagram. And I know you have like 23,000 on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
You have the
yeah,
blue
yeah.
check.
Nice. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've garnered a nice following, and organically,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
set out to be a influencer
Either.
or that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I said I
And
accidentally, I wasn't even the only reason why I
yeah,
was making videos was so my mom could know what I was doing. Because she's like,
exactly. Yeah.
how am I going to know what you're doing? And after a
Uh-huh.
week, I was already monetized. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Lovely. Yeah, no, it's such well, and I think that those are those things that our visions aren't necessarily the same as the visions that are being, that are seen or that are needed or that are or people resonate with, and we don't
Right.
even see that in ourselves, and then all of a sudden people start following you, and that is there's a I would I might have stopped in some ways because when you're traveling and you're doing your thing, it's
Yeah.
hard to post or to think about it. But then I get these beautiful messages from people who aren't able to be out on the road or aren't able to feel relaxed or peace, and just even just to see somebody who's happy, and for me, when people talk about mentors, like when I was young,
Hmm.
um, which would have been the 70s, I'm 55. And so in the 70s, 80s, we had, for me, I had like Jane Goodall and Diane
Hmm.
Fossey and Baruti Galdikas, Leakey's three that were out with, in the jungles. We
Yeah.
had the feminist movement. So, we have Gloria Steinem's and people out there that we see, but we had Charlie's Angels on
Oh,
TV. We had Laverne and Shirley,
oh God. Happy
Michael doing their
days.
thing,
Yeah.
Happy Days, right? And so we have all of these, but we had a lot of women
Hmm.
right? Mary Tyler Moore. I mean, there were
Oh,
so
right.
many women who were
Yeah.
older, who
Yeah.
were on their own, living their life fully vibrant, doing their thing. And somehow our media or that kind of changed a little bit.
Do you know, I
And
never looked at it like that. I'm glad you said
yeah,
that because I never
yeah.
realized I'm 58.
Okay.
So
So same.
same,
You were watching the same.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I never realized that.
Yeah. So we did. I mean, so I grew up with women
Yeah.
on television in real world,
Right.
without necessarily being with anybody doing just their thing. And so what I hear on my social media, especially from the younger women, and
Mhm.
they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that you could enjoy life when you were old. Like they were like, I didn't know that you could be cool or you could be sexy or you could be fun. Like they're like, I
Right.
haven't seen that.
Right.
And, I think it's more and more becoming relevant on social media. You're seeing a lot of midlife women who are completely happy in what they're doing, but
Right.
in maybe small town USA or wherever, they might not be seeing their mom in that same thing, so they don't even know that that exists. And
Hmm.
so they're seeing a different, and I knew it existed based on the people that I knew back in the 70s, and so
Hmm.
so I feel like the social media is a place where just people can see other ways of life do exist. And so I think, like, I know people have negative things to say about social media, but I personally think it's such a lovely way to see
Oh, it
more.
is. And that's
Yeah.
what I've gotten. A lot of women reach out saying, oh, I can never do that, or oh, you made me believe that I can do that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and because
Yeah.
they're scared, but then you show them that, you know,
Yeah. It's
you just have
possible.
to be aware. Yeah. And it's not
Yeah.
scary,
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the difference. I just want to tell them too, you don't live in a van.
No,
You just travel like the world.
I, that was, yeah. Yeah. So my first, yes. So I'm a global traveler. I would have loved to do van life, but I'm also frugal, and you can't. I mean, some people can travel the world and do van life and do that and stay in the $800 villa in Bali. That's not
Hmm.
me
Hmm.
if I want to be long term doing this. And so
Right.
I'm at least wise enough with my money to know, wait, I can't go buy a Sprinter van, a Mercedes Sprinter van. So
Yeah.
I first converted I had a Nissan Rogue, and I took
Hmm.
out the back seats and I converted the back, and I went car camping in my car. So that's where I kind of did some of that. But and then I could afford to also buy a ticket to Bali
Right.
and do all of that. So yeah. So
Well, because that's my next step is to travel like globally,
good.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
internationally. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I've done it I lived in the van now full time for like 3.5 years.
Okay.
And, uh, and it's just time, when it's
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
move on. And it's interesting because
Yeah.
I was just going to sell her because just like you, well, I want to take that money then
Mm-hmm.
to keep
Yeah.
moving on. We want to keep moving
Yeah.
forward. And there were some people who are like, oh, it's so sad. And, and I said, I don't think about it like that. Like, Charlene, that's my van. And I
Okay.
redid her and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, I think about, wow, how exciting for somebody else to get to use her and go
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
beautiful trips and make more
Yeah.
adventures.
And there's a growth, right? We all know when we've
Yep.
gotten what we needed from that moment, why you were in the van, what made you go. Like my original was COVID had just been ending. I
Hmm.
was still in the mindset of I don't want to be in hotels. I was still in that. So it was like the hotels and all of that. And so I was tent camping, but then I felt my safety being alone in a tent was
Yes.
uncomfortable. So I'd
Yes.
like to be able to lock myself in my car,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that's just kind of where but that was that moment. Did I want to be
Hmm.
camping forever? No, but I
Hmm.
can go back. I mean, the car's
Right.
still ready. Um, so I think that's part of it, that kind of growth. And Bali, why I keep coming here is because for me, it's about me on the inside kind of growing, and the Balinese. And like, I haven't moved from this location right here for 10 days now. I haven't gone to a waterfall. I haven't done anything. I've been here, I've gone to yoga, I've gone to just stuff, massage, like just things to fill my soul.
Well, so
So
many things to talk about too, because I saw your post about how you were going to stay at this place and it was all women, but they didn't let women over 40 go.
yeah, yeah, I have. I don't know why I haven't. I don't know why. And I've heard two versions of it. I've
Uh-huh.
heard our immediate mental version I would assume it's where you're at with, it sounds ageist and it sounds like, they're being like, wait, what's wrong with the over 40? So that's the one take I've heard. The other
Mhm.
take I've heard is we should have, we financially, we should be better off probably. And
Oh,
that
mhm.
taking the space from a young woman
Oh,
who isn't as financially
right.
able, we'd be taking away. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go with that spin.
Yes,
I'm going to
exactly.
go with the concept that it has more to do with our finances, and that we're capable of paying for the higher room, and that the young women traveling
Right.
should have the opportunity for that.
So when did
But
you start traveling like internationally like this, like you do now? Because you were in Mongolia, and then we'll talk
I
about
was,
too. I know you have a
okay,
trip coming up that you've
yeah,
invited people to bring along, because
yeah,
that's where when I talked about it, I'm in a situation right now. I don't know if I'm with my mom and
right,
kind of
yeah,
helping out
yeah.
here, but yeah. So eventually, that's what I want to do. But when did you like just start traveling like that solo?
17,
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah. So
Oh.
17, yeah, I was 17. So I graduated high school at 17. And I moved into New York City and got my first apartment by myself at 17. No, I just turned 18.
Where are
Um,
you originally from?
from New York. And so that
Oh,
was
you
kind of the
are.
norm. Yeah. So the normal, like you move into the city kind of a thing was there. But
Yeah.
before I went to Europe for the summer. And so I had family in Germany. So I had a
Uh-huh.
place to go originally in Germany. And, but then I just jumped on a train. So I wanted to see Paris by myself. And I went to Paris by myself. I went to Rome by myself,
Oh my
London.
gosh.
And so I did all of that by myself at 17. I turned 18 in October. And then my next trip by myself was Ecuador when I was 18, maybe 19, where I went with an organization to Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I did volunteer work.
Yeah.
And then here, so when I was 20, I spent 1 year backpacking through Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And I had a girlfriend with me who was back and forth, like we'd be together traveling, and then we would like separate because it was a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I've been doing this a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were your
Yeah.
parents like worried about you, or are they, you know,
Um, yeah, I'm sure they were, but so my parents are German, and
oh,
so
got it.
they have and we're in the war and have a whole
Right.
different thing, and they were
Yeah.
immigrants to America on green cards my whole life, and so there's this strength of character, and there's a
Yeah.
way that you raise your children that
Yeah.
are very independent. So when I can remember in elementary school, and no one ever walked me to school. Like I
Right.
always walked, and after school, like my parents split up when I was 3, and
Yeah.
my mom had a job, and my dad,
Yeah.
lived on a sailboat, and after school, my mom didn't leave work, and so I can remember being 6, walking
Right.
around town, going to the donuts, going to get dinner by myself. Like
So
that
it
was just
was
a normal thing, and
like
that's very
a
normal in
normal,
Europe.
right?
Children get on buses, public transportation, and children go
Mm-hmm.
down to get the baguette, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
sit down the street.
That's
Maybe it's changed
interesting.
now, but I don't
I'm
know.
I'm German also. Tischler
Oh,
means
okay.
table maker. So yeah, I come from, my
Yeah.
grandma was very German. And you said, is your birthday in October?
Yeah.
October
Also
what?
24th.
Mine's the 26th.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there you go. Like-minded
There,
spirits.
yeah, for
Yeah. Yeah.
Scorpios.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
How interesting. That makes
Yeah. So
sense.
I think there's a fortitude there so it was never. So yeah, so we never spoke about it, but there wasn't even a question on
Not
whether or
even,
not I
yeah,
would go. I don't remember her ever saying, don't go, there was never a thing. It was just, of course, also 18, so I didn't
right,
do this
yeah,
at 16. Like, there was a
right,
thought process that you're a grown,
yeah,
you
right.
do you.
Well, and then I know you're like me, your son just got married.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah.
have
So
one son, I mean, one
one
child.
son,
I have a
one
daughter, one
son.
daughter. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and he's 27 and he was just married, and I think and I also raised him the same way in some ways as my mom raised me, that's what I know. So he's
Yeah.
also an Sparrett, and he for it's a great, that's where I know he's my son. He was he got into mountain biking, and then it was his girlfriend, they were going to go mountain biking, I think it was Wyoming or Montana or someplace. And then when he started putting it all together and the flights and looking at all of that, it was less expensive for him to fly to Italy, put the bikes in luggage on the plane, and then get off in the airport in Italy and go onto the train and put them on the train. And then they did biking around the lakes in northern Italy. And that's where he actually ended up, and they camped, they had backpacking. So they had tents with them, tent camp anywhere on wherever you want. It's open land. And so like campsites and things. And that's where he proposed, on one of the lakes in Italy. But to even have the wherewithal and to know that you can get on a plane with your bikes and fly up Italy for less money than staying in the United States. You see a bird just did something strange behind me.
I see the coconuts in the trees. I just saw those coconuts in the trees. Wow.
Yeah. And I can see there's a little fire, someone's burning something right there. And
well, it's so beautiful because it's like 7 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like 6 o'clock at night here. I was going to say too, what's funny about that is, my daughter just got engaged, and they were in the Grand Tetons camping.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So same thing. Yeah, it's like,
gorgeous there.
Had to, the outdoor stuff. Same with Jessie, my daughter, that she loves to be outdoors and just adventurous and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know, people always ask me, and I'll ask you, and they say, how do you afford to do this? And I know. Yeah.
For me, it's been savings. So, I think that's a difference is, since I've been a traveler, since I've been a teenager, I know that's my passion. So my passion isn't like Birkin bag.
Right. Mine either.
So since that's my passion, like, it's not even like, I don't walk into a clothing store and go, so I don't spend money in my daily life often but a lot of people spend their money. I don't get manicures and pedicures, for instance. Like, that's a lot, it costs a lot of money. And so when you start adding up over a lifetime, starting at 20, 30, and you add up, like, I'm not going out to dinner. I don't drink. I mean, do I drink? Like, will I have a drink? Yes. But, alcohol is expensive. Also, I feel like I just pee it out. So I feel like I mean, so I don't know, that for me, that's like and then the same thing with food. I mean, it's wonderful to have a beautiful meal, but same thing, I just poop it out. So it's there's a waste of money, just
for sustenance. Yep. Just to keep
like they
going.
name.
Yeah.
So when you start adding up how much money you can save, even if it's $5 a day, and I don't go to Starbucks, I make coffee at home. And so I've been frugal, and in some ways my whole life, and I didn't buy the largest house when I had the opportunity. Like, when you have, when you can move into a neighborhood and they have those, like, this section and that section and that section, and you can, like, go through, like, the subdivision, and I could have maybe afforded the third section, but I bought the first section because I was like, that's all I need. I only, like, it's just my son and I was like, I only need, I think it was like 1,500 square feet. I was like, I don't need 2,000 square feet for two people.
More to clean.
So I feel like that's how, so it isn't just like, and I was a school teacher, so I wasn't making massive money. Yeah. I've never been like a six-figure person, but through living a long lifestyle of prioritizing that, I enjoy travel, and I know that's what I want to do. So I was able to quit with the savings that I had, and money in the stock market. And so that's been doing really well over these years. So I've been just lucky to be able to just take off my principal, but I've gone a little bit, there's some credit card debt, I'm not gonna lie. And but with intention that I will pay that off. And I've always believed money comes. So I've never been someone who
scared.
Like, I wasn't raised with the money doesn't grow on trees, like that's like a thing. And I can always get a job and make money. It's always around.
Yeah. I'm like, I work 10 jobs so I can save so that I can go travel.
Like even you said, this got monetized like that, right? Like I could do brand deals. When I get offered brand deals, the pricing I'm can make, which I don't do them often, but I'm in
No,
the
me either.
$750 to $1,000 per post.
Wow,
Yeah, so for
that's
TikTok
great.
thing, yeah.
They
And
keep
so,
reaching out to me, and for me, it's just so, I mean, like you, I'm very like, I do a lot of e-bike reviews through
yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
and I love to do them, and I'm outside doing them, and then I get to keep the bike, and then I sell the
yeah,
bike
yeah, yeah.
for
Right,
less,
okay,
so somebody
right,
else is getting a deal.
yeah, yeah,
And it's
right,
interesting because I think there's something in me, like I want to do it, but I don't want to be like you, like I know you said you're very like particular,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm afraid to even start because but it's part of how we live. And again, it's weird, like YouTube, social media, making money off of that, because people, I don't think they sometimes understand what a job it truly is.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah. It's,
you don't always want to be on camera, but your
yeah,
job is taking pictures
yeah,
of yourself and posting.
yeah. And what's also funny is when people meet me in real life,
Yeah.
um, I actually am prettier because I mean 99% of the time, selfies are not the
Oh no, right.
way to hold
Yeah.
the camera. And then
Yeah.
it's usually mornings. I love to do this. So I have
Yeah.
no makeup on. I have
Yeah.
just woken up. I'm holding a camera in my
Yeah.
face, and there is nothing that I'm like going, oh, this is exciting. But I realize, just like anyone, nobody sees that. And like when I see people that I like, I don't notice a wrinkle. I don't notice anything. I just notice them. And so I have to remind myself that, you know, it
I
doesn't
think
matter.
that's why people love you. I know I was drawn to you. Well, now I know you're a Scorpio like I am, and there's similarities. I'm very frugal myself and stuff like
Right.
that. But I think it's that, well, first of all, you're always smiling, like you're always like
Yeah.
laughing, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
and you're dancing, and
Yeah.
like what you wear, you are not inhibited by
Yeah.
being older. And you even
No.
talk about
Yeah.
like some health challenges, and I know your
Yeah.
leg or something,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I have a hernia. I can
Yeah.
show you
Oh,
my
really?
right here is a hernia. You
Oh,
see that?
wow.
And that's gonna be my next surgery.
That but it's fun
Yeah.
getting old. They said getting old is not for the weak of heart. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and but here's the thing, like you said, why I share and I keep sharing is because I don't know if you don't know my backstory, but my sister passed away at 42. My
Mm,
brother passed away at 62, my sister.
yeah.
Anyway, and I said, I can't wait to retire
Mhm.
because I have to do it while I'm healthy because they were
Yeah.
all under 61. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ooh, there's probably a slim chance, Tracy. So you better get out there. And I'm very
Yeah.
athletic and very, on the go. And I
Right.
thought, I am not going to keep dying in an office, sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
So that I had a girlfriend and her parents had just retired. Okay. They waited till they were like, you're 62, 63. They both retired. They had a cabin up north. They were going to go retire up there and start their life.
Mhm.
And they got in a car accident and the mom passed
Yeah.
away. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, you
Exactly.
don't know. So
Yeah.
never a
Well,
roadmap or never
yeah,
with,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, going into that my first trip when I was 17, actually, one of my close friends was murdered. And so there was a murder. It's on TV if you want to watch. It's the preppy. They call it the preppy murder. Her name was
Yes.
Jennifer Levin.
You
Yeah,
knew her?
yeah.
In
Yeah, yeah,
Central Park.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
And he just got
yeah.
out again. And then I think they put him back in or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So that was my best friend was best friends with her. So, the three
right.
of us were always together, and there was actually five of us who were together, and another person OD'd after that because of all of that about a year later.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so why I went to Europe is her parents had asked us to stay away because the paparazzi was crazy.
Yeah.
And that was a very media frenzied thing.
Yes.
And we had been with her just like the night before, not at Dorian's, but the
Right.
night before. And they had said to stay out of it because they were mean. I mean, the paparazzi, which was like at her wake, it was an open casket wake, and there was only about 10 of us, maybe less than 10 people, whereas her funeral had thousands, but at the wake it was very small. but the paparazzi was like outside saying, you know, your bitch girlfriend got what she deserved, and like that kind of stuff, trying to get like it was pretty heightened. And so they asked us to stay out of it. And so I didn't know how to stay out of it and be in New York necessarily. So
Right.
that would get me out of here. And I just
Right.
jumped on a plane, went to Europe by myself. So that was kind of part of it, just to leave that scene behind.
Mm-hmm.
Has a little bit, but that's where it goes to. So, and we were, she was on a diet often.
Yeah.
And so a group of us after the funeral went to a restaurant called Serendipity in New York City, which is famous for their desserts and ice cream. And we all got ice creams about the size of our head. And we all ate the
Native.
entire ice cream in honor of her because
Right.
she did. And it was
Oh,
like, you know, she was worried about getting fat, like, you know, and worried about
right.
things. And, you
Yeah.
know, so she wasn't eating the ice creams, even though she
Yeah.
would have liked to. So we all
Yeah.
went and ate the ice cream. And I think that's a little bit of that where, you know, that live your life, you know, eat the
Right.
ice cream. Like you don't want to
Right.
be unhealthy, but
Right.
if you desire an ice cream, eat an
Yes.
ice cream. Like don't worry
Yes.
if you're going to get fat, because one ice cream is not going to make you fat.
No. No, I
Yeah,
get,
you
yes.
need one, you know, and
Well,
that's why I eat everything. And I, you know, I mean,
yeah.
those are just those kind of, and I'm like,
Moderation.
vegan is great and fine. I've
Right.
been gluten-free at times
Right.
when I'm healthy, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
I need to
Right.
eat healthy. Like I understand, but I also, if I'm in Mongolia, I eat meat because that's what they
Right.
eat. So,
Well,
you know, so
that's
it goes
like,
with what you're saying with like living life.
well, when my sister here, she died at 42. And I remember being in the room with her. She was in hospice. And yeah, I just looked at her. It was just us two. And I just thought, I wonder what she wished she would have done. Like, had
Mhm.
she known, because it
Yeah,
happened fast. She found out in October and she
yeah.
died in January. And, she
Mhm.
left two kids, 11 and 9. And Anna had been adopted from Bogota, Colombia,
Okay.
because
Yes. Sorry.
Chris couldn't
Yeah.
get pregnant after Chad. So like so young, and that's the thing when you see that. And at first I was like, oh, why yes? Because then her husband passed away 10 years later. And then um uh the day we buried him, my dad had a massive stroke. And it was just like, wait a minute, like,
Yeah.
why us or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
then when so much happens, like I was angry, but then it came to this like calm, like, well, you just don't know. Do you know what I mean? That nobody's picking on us. Nobody's,
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
life,
Yeah. It
you
is.
know?
It is. That is it. And that's where, and I don't want to say you don't, I mean, pain is pain and you can't smile
Right,
through things, right? But
right.
I feel like when people see me smiling, even when I burnt my hand, it's just getting better.
Oh,
Um, but I'm still smiling, right? And it's like,
right,
how could you be smiling? You've got a burnt hand and manages and you've gone 4 times to that. Well, I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, not to smile. I mean,
right,
I don't
right.
know. Yes, it sucks, but it is what it is, right? I mean, and it's no like, you know, I mean, that's it. It's
Well,
life.
and it's going to be there whether you smile or you don't smile.
Right.
And
Or whether you find happy, and you don't need to feel, I personally feel you don't need to feel guilty enjoying your life after someone's passed. You know, and that was something that as a teenager, I had to kind of learn, you know, how
right,
and there's more to all of that. There's a lot more people who passed in those days because that's the 80s and
right.
AIDS and all kinds of
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
And in the club scene starting at 13 and there's
yeah.
the whole thing.
I know
But
it's scary. When I had my daughter, I'm like, oh boy, I hope she doesn't do what
yeah,
I did. And
exactly.
I went to a
Exactly.
Catholic school.
Yeah, yeah, you guys, you did more, I think,
Yeah,
out and
I say,
about.
because we're
The
like,
best.
why can't we do it? Why can't we talk about that? We want to
Exactly.
do it now.
Yeah, yeah. I actually finished my bucket list at 40 because of what you were saying with your sister. So I knew a lot of people. I feel like 40 was at least with our age group. I feel like 40 was the time that there was a lot of cancers. There was a lot of
Mhm.
people having issues. And I was just like, I don't the true potential, I feel like maybe in the United States, whether it's chemicals or I don't know what it is, but the
I
true
think it is.
potential of possibly getting something and having to deal with that. I mean, I don't know. I felt like, yeah, it's just, it could be a reality. And
Right.
so I took the moment to say, what's the one thing that I would be sad that if I died, and I always wanted to go to Africa. So I went for my 40th
Uh-huh.
birthday to Africa for 2 months. And I took my son and we did 5 weeks in Tanzania. And then my now ex-husband met us, and So I did Africa. So that finished, because when I added, I had a child, I had my career, I had
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
I did. And so it was just Africa that was missing, that I would have been sad if I never saw it. And so all of this
Mhm.
is a bonus round. So I've had 15 years of doing and seeing and things. But if I had died at any other time prior, I would have been fine. And that's what my
Fulfilled.
people in my
Yeah.
family know. If I die on any of this, whatever, I'm good. Like I've lived a really good life.
And that's what I say too. It's like, like even just like getting in the van and just kind of living on your own terms. Like there is no way I could ever go back to like an office job, So
Yeah.
I work at Walgreens part-time because I like to talk to people. I like to
Yeah.
converse,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't sit at a desk and I was slowly dying. Although I
Yeah.
make a lot more money doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I
I have a
just can't.
master's degree and
Yep.
don't plan to get, I mean, my mother
Yep.
went back to work at 70 because she was bored. And so she retired to
Oh,
Florida at 67 and
mm-hmm.
she did not enjoy subdivision life. She doesn't play golf, she doesn't like mission,
Yeah.
just wasn't her.
Right.
And she told me she was visiting girlfriends for Christmas in New York City, and she slept on a girlfriend's couch at 70, went to a temp agency, got herself a job with a very large financial company. They did the restructuring of the Lehman Brothers back in the day, and Bernie Madoff and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and an administrative assistant to one of the top executives from
Wow.
70 to 78. And she moved back to New York City at 70 and got herself a good money-making job and loved every minute of it. So I don't, if you want to work, you can work.
I see. And
At 70.
it's never too late. And I work like 10 jobs. Like I do makeup.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
doing makeup, and the jobs aren't always there, but I'm going to North Dakota for,
Uh,
4 days for one, and I have one
yeah.
next week. And like you said, so I just kind of, it always comes and, YouTube brings me in some money and it
Yeah.
just comes
Yeah.
somehow.
And I also feel now, I mean, I have some projects that I'm working on, journals, which I see as a creation that's being, in the future to help
Well,
sustain
let's
my,
talk about
yeah.
that because I
Okay.
saw that because at first I wasn't sure. I'm like, I thought it was a book or something. I said the yoga journals. Because
Yeah.
tell us your website because you have a beautiful website.
Thank you. Well, it's neveraroadmap.com.
Yeah.
And right now I have 2 yoga journals because that's yoga is where I was thinking where this stuff came to me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I plan on having a whole series of travel journals, and I'm in the creations of doing that now, and they'll be coming out probably one in the next couple of weeks. And the next, the hardest part is just getting a copy for me to do my final check on, because when I'm in Bali,
Yeah.
so I have them sent to some friends to take a look at them just to make sure that they look good. But yeah, the yoga journal for me was I enjoy yoga,
Mhm.
in specifically a lot in the States, yoga becomes very physical
Yes.
and less mental,
A
and
workout.
a workout. And
Yeah.
that's obviously not its intent to
Right.
begin with, at least. And so there's a mixture of mind, body, and soul, where we're trying to put it all together. And in there's a in yoga, there is a lot of, you're supposed to not think, right? And you're supposed to
Mhm.
just be present in your movement and what you're doing. But on the flip side of it, I find much more clear. And we have a mind. I
Right.
mean, we're not, every organ in our body is supposed to work and function. We're not
Mhm.
supposed to stop our heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, because we're
Yeah.
thinking, and we're not
Right. We
supposed to
think. Stop
stop
thinking.
our
Yeah.
brain because
Yeah.
breathing, so for me,
Right.
I feel like the mind is still, I don't feel it's supposed to stop thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not its purpose. So I'm more into a focused thinking, and that if when I start thinking, like I can quiet too many thoughts and just
Right.
center more. And so I know that within yoga, especially at the Shavasana, I have these beautiful thoughts. Like I really
Mm-hmm.
do see visions of like when I was in Sumatra, and on the moped, I had prior vision sitting in yoga. I was like, oh, I can see myself on a moped in Sumatra. And then I was like, oh, well, I
I'm
can
here.
see it. So let me buy the ticket, so I take the action to do it.
Right.
But sometimes I forget. I forget what I saw
Right.
because then the
Right.
teacher says something and then I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, that's like a dream. Like, when you forget your dreams,
Yeah.
like they're so
Yeah.
clear at the moment. And 5 minutes later, you're like, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
And so
Because
that's
you
what
think
happened.
you're not going to forget it because it's so clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you still do. So that's where that for me, the journal came in, and this idea of just having a little bit more of a clearer writing it down, what I'm looking for, what I want to do, and then what comes out. And I stop sometimes inside of the yoga class. I mean, because most teachers say, do you, this is your
Yeah.
class.
Right. Yeah.
And even if they're like, wait, what? You just stopped and you got down to write. Most of them, I
Yeah.
usually tell them ahead of time, hey,
Oh,
I like to journal sometimes, so just so you
right.
know, I might stop if something comes to me and I'll journal it, because that way I don't, otherwise I keep trying to think about it so I don't forget
Mhm.
it. So if I just
Mhm.
stop and journal for a minute, then I
You
can
can
come
move
back
on. Right.
and just
Yeah.
leave it on the mat, leave it there. So that's where they came from. Yeah. And I hope to be that passive income that can help others,
So
and
is this something then that you're sharing? Is it like I know it's a journal, but is it like a blog or something? Because I saw the beautiful pictures or whatever
yeah,
for it on your website.
right.
So you'll be sharing them on your website? Is that
Yeah, so right now they're through on my website, and then through a company called Blurb is who I'm using. So they're
okay?
making them and shipping them. And so I don't have to physically hold them and send them to anyone. So, so it's just through you can
So is it
purchase
by
them.
email or you
Yeah, it's just like a regular, it's like if you were to hit buy now, you just go on to buy now onto their website Blurb, and
oh,
that's and
okay.
they're selling and they're housing them for me. So they make them. So once an order comes in, they will then print it out, and then they will ship it. And so I
Okay.
don't have to, and that's where the passive, I can be anywhere in the world.
Right.
And so as the travel journals and as everything comes together, and I am looking at, I haven't spoken with Blurb yet, so I'm not sure if it's workable yet, but like TikTok has shop now buttons
Yep.
where you link
Yep.
your thing,
Yep.
and I believe Instagram does too. So there is
Right.
a way that I'm looking to, but for me, I don't ever need to do anything quickly. So I'm very
Right.
much, I take my time and make
Yeah.
sure I write the first time, and I don't want to put anything out that I'm not proud of, or if I
Right.
want shipping to work,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so when that all comes together, we'll see.
So tell me about Mongolia, because you were, so first of all, from here, you're going to Thailand, right? You're not in
For a
Bali for
month.
much
Yeah,
longer. When do you leave
right.
Bali?
June 4th. So I have
Okay.
about two more weeks or so. And Bali, this location I leave, I'm going to go to a more remote location, and another van lifer has joined me. We met on TikTok originally, and she just flew in 2 days ago. And she's never been to Bali before. She saw that I was here, and we've met up with each other in the States and camped together. And she said, coming to Bali, you're there. I have to come. And she
Well,
bought
you
a
know, when
one-way
I
ticket.
asked you, I was almost gonna say I'm coming, not like to
Yeah,
be with
yeah,
you, but like because I
yeah,
wanted to go. But
yeah,
right now isn't the time. And then it's
yeah,
interesting because now with my girlfriend, and I think that it'll be great. But yeah,
yeah.
and it's interesting because I've met so many women like this now,
Mhm.
just on
Yeah,
social media. There's
yeah,
just something,
yeah,
and it's kind of like dating on a dating app when it's
yeah,
intentional. It never
yeah,
really seems to work out. Do you know what I mean? Like when that's
yeah,
like a motivation, but it just
yeah,
kind of happens
yeah.
in its
Yeah,
own.
I
Like I
think we're
said, I was,
organically,
yes,
we follow who we all
yep,
follow who we
yep,
like, and we're a little
right,
tribe of friends. And you don't, I mean, I don't think I follow many people that I wouldn't think would be my friend,
right,
whether they're
exactly,
20, whether they're
yep,
80, it
yep,
doesn't matter. No matter what
nope,
color, doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what country. I
yep,
follow people that I like.
yep.
End of
Well, and
story. And if I don't like you, I'm not going to follow you. And so if I like you this way, then I will like you more than
right
likely in
that
real.
way. So, I know you said Bali's like become really special to you, and
Mhm.
maybe at some point,
Yeah, I'm thinking
you
next year
know,
maybe I'll be here a little more full time.
more. And so then you're going to Thailand. And when you go, like, do you go just to experience it? Or, because like usually a tourist is like, oh, I'm going to go and do this. Or do you just know where you're going to stay there, and then just things come as they,
Yeah, so yes, things just come. I don't
yeah,
necessarily know I do not know where so I'm going to be a month in Thailand and I have 2 nights in Bangkok booked. I don't know.
That's
I don't even know which way I'm going after Bangkok. So, and
well, you live
again,
up
I'm
to your name, that's for sure.
yeah, I have no
Everyone's a
idea.
map.
And
Yeah.
in Bangkok, I am meeting another woman who also, she was an Instagram follower. And the last time I was in Bali, when I came back here, she's like, "Oh my God, you're in Bali." She's like, "I'm partially here because of you." She's like, "Oh my God, can we meet?" And I was like, "Of course we can meet." I was like, "Come up,"
Yeah.
and she came up and did yoga with me. And then we obviously became fast friends.
Right.
And I recently messaged her a couple months ago and I was like, "Hey, what are you up to?" She said, "Oh, I just bought a one-way ticket to Thailand for a month." And she's she has a full-time job in the States, but she was able to convert it that she can work remotely online.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be in Thailand and I told her June, and she's like, "That's the month I'm gonna be there." So we of course are meeting in
Yeah.
Bangkok, and with the um maybe we'll be traveling together the whole time. Maybe we'll be together for a few
Right.
days. Maybe we don't know, just leaving it loose and seeing
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but no, I like here in Ubud, I've been here 10 times, let's say, because even if I've only been to Bali for that doesn't mean I might leave and come back to Ubud and
Right.
leave. I've
Hmm.
still kind of feel bad, but I've still never gone to the Ubud Palace, which is one of the like tourist spots.
Yeah.
There's another temple, the Turta something, where they do the water and you see everybody getting the water and the healing. I've
Yeah.
never
I
been
saw
there.
that before. Yeah.
Never been there. There's a
Right.
waterfall that everybody does the like sexy like
Oh,
pictures on. Never been there. I have never been to, there's something called a Kichak dance, which is the nighttime fire dance thing.
hmm.
Never done that. I mean, so and when I like to go back, like when I was in Paris, I'd been to Paris 4 times before I ever went to the Eiffel Tower or to the Louvre. Like
Wow.
I go to Paris to sit in a cafe and have a
Right.
croissant,
Yeah.
cafe au lait, and
To do
I don't
the
know what I do.
well, and I think because the other things, it's so overdone, like it's such a touristy Instagram
Yeah,
shot kind of
yeah,
thing.
it's
And you're
packed with people.
right. And you're not there just for the shot. You're there for the
No,
experience. And
yeah,
that's what I think
yeah,
somehow we've lost that in
yeah.
all this social media
Yeah.
that,
And it takes time. I think
yeah,
that's also so. I mean, I have to say, if I only had a week,
right.
there might be a different because it takes like I went last night. I can't wait to share. I just started sharing, but I went with my hosts to it was full moon and
Hmm.
everyone in Bali, all the Balinese, they pray quite a
Hmm.
bit for many things. And full moon is one of the big ones that they all go usually to do a full moon ceremony type of a thing. And so I was invited along and my girlfriend came along. And so we were the only Westerners
Hmm.
with, originally maybe 20 women and then the other one maybe 100 Balinese.
Right.
And that you don't necessarily get meet the people and get invited on day one, right? So there it
Right.
is a special, like you have a
Yeah.
bond, it takes some time, like any relationship, that
Hmm.
there's a comfort level that they're happy
A
to invite
trust.
you to. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it is a little bit harder to be part of the fabric,
Right.
but it's doable for sure.
So what's on your agenda today?
There's little boys. Let me see. Can you see them? No, wait, which way? There's some boys sitting. Oh, there. Can you see them sitting on that thing? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
It's
yep,
just
yep. I
like,
saw him
I
moving.
don't know. There's like, 5 little boys and they're
Yeah.
all sitting there playing with them. They got things sweet and a couple
It's
dogs.
such a beautiful scenery. So like today, what does your day look like? Will you go do yoga? Will you?
So you're gonna laugh. So would have been yoga at 7:30, but it changed,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't matter. I've only got one thing planned, and it's actually girly. You'll love it.
Uh-huh.
Um, gonna get, I've never had them. I'm gonna get eyelash extensions.
I used to do eyelash extension.
Okay. So I've never had them ever in my life. And there's a spa and I thought, oh, how fun, let's try. And that's
Yep.
what I mean, I do love, like,
Why
Bali
not?
is like a self-help haven. everything and at prices. Again, let me turn this when
Oh,
when
you
you say
told me,
like,
didn't you get like a hour and a half massage for like $20 or something
yeah,
ridiculous
yeah,
like that?
yeah, yeah. I feel like these eyelash extensions are, they said, but I think they're like maybe $20, maybe 25, 20, 20, $25, something like that. Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
how much they are here? They're like $200.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 I
Yeah,
think, yeah. So that's where part of that comes. I did get a pedicure manicure the other day without polish, but and
yeah.
it was mani pedi was 20. Um, and no, 15. No, 15 actually. It was 15 for the mani pedi. Yeah.
Oh my
So if there's,
gosh.
and so that's part of the reason I have to say if I'm financially fortunate, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
not at I mean when it comes not in America, I'm not wealthy at
Right.
all, but
Right.
I can live a
Right. Comfortable.
lifestyle that's
Yes.
that here I can pamper myself and I can get massages. And while I
Right.
don't need like that, I wouldn't go back. I don't need that for
Right.
myself, but it's fun to do. But
Well, and
I
I saw
massage and things like being healthy is
I saw
I
your post along with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah, yeah,
that how you were eating pizza and you said, I don't usually eat pizza in the States.
never do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. And because we have like it's just so heavy and I mean I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I
Yeah.
would eat
No,
the
no,
whole thing
no.
just
But
here
sodium
it didn't
and
feel,
yeah,
yeah, it didn't feel
grease
like
and
that at all.
cheese. Yeah. When I
I
said, I
actually
go ahead.
consider the United States to be a food desert as a
Oh,
whole.
I tell you, and that's even my brother, because when my brother, he got colon cancer. And
Mhm.
he even said he believed it was from what he ate. He didn't like vegetables at all. And he was like meat and potatoes, where I don't eat that much meat, surprisingly, and I'm very like, and I work out every day and stuff like that. And I was actually surprised that he said that.
Yeah.
And this is when he was sick. And he said he thinks that his diet had a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
And
no,
yeah,
especially the processed. I mean, I feel like, and that's where the thing is, I think that organic is the way we should all eat, right?
right.
We don't want chemicals, we don't want preservatives, don't want antibiotics, we don't want any of that stuff in our
No,
food. Why would we want to eat steak with full of antibiotics? Like,
right,
so it's not what we want, right? But we can't afford to buy
right.
a nice organic steak. I mean, like farm, I mean,
Isn't
I don't
that
even know.
crazy?
And so because of that, that's where I can say food desert. It's like, we're not getting real food and all the genetically
No,
modified. That's against the law in Europe. You can't have
yeah,
genetic.
should be.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so when I'm here, I'm eating everything, just everything's organic pretty much.
yeah,
And I mean, it's not, but I mean, but in that,
right.
chat,
Yeah,
but I feel like, the rice is right there. Like
yeah,
I haven't seen him put fertilizer or doing the ducks go through to fertilize,
right. Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
that's a difference. And you can't see, but in the background, I mean, you see the coconuts, right? I could be drinking
Yeah,
that right there.
yeah, they're
Look back
beautiful.
there, it's papaya. So I can literally from here see the papaya, and I see the man
Yeah,
and he goes over and he gets a papaya
fix
down
it.
every morning to
Yeah,
eat,
yeah,
you know,
from hand
and
to mouth. Yeah,
yeah, and there's chickens right there, and there's like, I mean, and so I feel like that's just so here for my dinner, in the Warong, which is like a local here, it's $1.50 for like I had like an eggplant curry, and it was less than I think it was like $1.20 for that for dinner.
oh
And I had a
my
tomato
gosh.
salad, which was cents,
Right. Yeah,
and so you can eat our organic, healthy
right,
lifestyle,
right.
so it's that makes a huge difference for me also for just feeling light that
Yeah,
I can just order food.
yeah, yeah,
I don't go down a menu and say, oh, is that, no, I just order
yeah,
what I want.
right.
Order the
Well, and
pizza.
and it's a domino effect, like here, like I like with the healthcare. So you eat all this processed food, and then you have to go to the doctor more and have
Yeah,
all these problems.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't
And
make sense.
like I said, I burnt myself with the French
Yeah,
press and it's healing nicely. But I went to the doctor 3 times here to just kept like, changing the bandages and making sure and buying the, whatever.
yeah,
And it was 400,000 is, I think is about $35, maybe it was my doctor's visit for everything. So I saw the doctor, I got the medicine, I got everything that was needed. They cleaned it. And so even I have traveler's insurance and I will submit that, all
Right,
those doctor bills when I
right.
go. But even if I didn't, right,
Yeah,
there's even a lot of people are concerned about healthcare in other countries. And
right.
so I was cared for fabulously. And then if I had a major medical, I could fly to another city, let's say Singapore, and I could hop on a flight for $25 to $50, to get
Oh
to
my
Singapore.
gosh.
Yeah, or go to
Wow.
other places if I had something that I really needed, you
Right.
know. So I think that that's awesome. Yeah.
So let's finish up and let's talk about Mongolia that you have. Is it full yet, or how many people are you bringing, or
Yeah, there's still space. So there's still space available, and it is maximum can be 12.
okay,
And I feel like 6 is comfortable. And I'm going, so how this goes is I'm not making any money off of that. I'm going to
right?
Mongolia because I love Mongolia. End of story. That's what this is about. But with that, like I'm staying in a homestay, and I'm usually trying to support local. And
Yep.
so my local guide in Mongolia, Beck with Beck Travels, was amazing. And his
Uh-huh.
stuff amazing. And like, I mean, the air traffic controller took the week off from work to be our guide, one of the air traffic
Oh,
controllers, because he
wow.
speaks English, so and so it's not, Mongolia is not a place that you can just say, I'm going to go to Mongolia and be in especially Western Mongolia, because there's no hotels once you leave the city. I mean, you have to stay with the
Right,
locals. There's no other place to stay. There's no signs on the roads. It's all dirt. And so it's not like, I mean, the true intrepid can do it, but then they don't speak
right,
English, right? It's Mongolia, so they speak
right,
Russian and Chinese and Korean, if anything, not English.
right.
Some people speak Kazakh, but so that's how this trip is. And so I have
Because I
one
did,
other person
oh,
who's
sorry, I
coming.
didn't think it cost that. It was like 2,000.
Yeah, it's not so bad. Well, because
No,
inside the country, yeah, it's 2000, it's 2250 for 10
yep.
days. And inside the country itself, like anywhere, the dollar is good. So what it would
Uh-huh.
cost to stay with a local family in their house, you're going to have an outhouse. We're not
Right.
talking, this isn't the Four Seasons.
Luxury.
There's no
Yeah.
reason it's going to cost $10,000. I
Right.
mean, that would be robbing you.
Yep.
And that's not what people are like in the world. People
Right.
really, I mean, it does not cost $10,000 to go to Mongolia on the land. I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't. Bali, this place I'm staying in cost $26. And my girlfriend who came to stay, the host said, well, since you're having somebody extra, because we have free breakfast, she's like, we're going to charge $6 extra. So,
That's it.
it's
Yeah.
not
A
it's not
greedy.
that. It's about it's about you.
Right.
Yes, they're trying to make a salary, and yes, they're trying to make money,
Right.
because that's business, but they're not there to just steal money, right? Or take money. So it's a fair price. And that includes a domestic plane ticket from Ulaanbaatar which is a 2 hour flight back and forth. It includes the
Wow.
driver. It includes all of the food. It includes places to sleep. It does include hotels in Ulaanbaatar and in the city when we arrive. Like, I mean, it includes everything. And that's, and in my world, it's actually expensive, because when you do it on your own,
Right.
I can pay $26, but you
Right.
can't do it on your own in Mongolia.
Right.
And so it's actually the fair price. And like I said, I'm not making any money. I'm just
Right.
happy to give him business. And if
Yeah.
I can facilitate,
Right.
um, and
Mhm.
I'm also personally more than happy to
To
not have,
go.
because I'm a
Yeah.
fellow traveler. So,
Yeah.
so I haven't been like, oh, come, and that's why I haven't
Right.
been like, I haven't been obsessive with like trying to get people to come, because
Right.
whether people go or don't go, I'm going.
Well, I just think it's a great thing because listen, when I talked about like going to Bali and maybe inviting people and, maybe
Yeah,
starting to do that, there were so many women who reached out because I said, oh, write me, and I'll see. And again, right now I'm just in a situation that I can't really
right.
do that. But,
Yeah,
but when I am, that's what I want to do because a lot of women don't want to travel alone.
yeah, yeah,
And so, and they don't know anybody who wants to travel like that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the perfect situation.
yeah. if you have anybody who wants to go soon in a group type of situation, I met a woman, I had dinner with her a couple nights ago, and she has a group kind of retreat tour in October here in Bali in Ubud, and she lives here, and she is similar to us, originally
Right.
as an American in Florida, 42 years in a job, got
Yeah.
divorced, kids grown. During COVID, said I'm done, had a girlfriend in Bali, and she moved to Bali. And so she's been living the full-time dream,
Oh,
and she's been here.
wow.
And so she knows the ins and outs. She knows where to eat. She knows what mosquito repellent to use.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
she's trying. She's going to host one of her first retreats in October. Diane, I'll send you
I was
her
gonna say,
information.
send me and I'll put it in the description so if people
Yeah,
wanna,
perfect. Yeah,
yeah,
so and I know she's just started kind of pushing that a little bit out too, but she
right.
has a similar situation. She has an aging mother in Florida
Yeah,
who, if something were to happen there, she would need to leave.
have to go back.
You
Yep.
know,
Yeah,
and so we all have that same understanding, but it doesn't mean that I mean, everything would be put together,
right,
organized in one, and somebody, and that's what's beautiful about here. Somebody else will always step in if worst case scenario, like somebody will
right,
host it for her, and it can
right.
still happen because there's
And
such a
that's
women's power.
community. Yeah, a
Yeah.
community. And
Yeah.
that's what it should be like. People should
Yeah.
just help people, you know,
Exactly. Yeah. For no reason.
for
Yeah.
no reason. Yeah, for no reason at all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Well,
how it is here. It's just a joy.
this has just been so lovely. I mean, I've been writing Monique because I think I first wrote you because I said I want to go to Bali because that's
Uh,
when I'm like,
yeah.
well, I want to go, and I was saying, can you just tell me place? I didn't even know where to begin to look, and you wrote
Yeah.
me back, and it's so kind because a lot of times you think people, who are on social media and have all this following, and I try to write people back as much as I can.
Yeah. I do too.
There's a time
Yeah.
constriction sometimes, but I do what I can.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
I've
I
pretty
just
much was
go
to
ahead.
say, anyone who asks me a question or
Yeah.
or gives, something that says something to me, I will always reply to. If it's just hello.
Yeah. No, I know.
I can't, you know what I mean? I don't have time for too much of that, if there's nothing more to it. And if somebody
Right.
does like a smiley face on a story, I love it. I see everything, but I don't
Yep.
necessarily reply back or accept because does become too much. But
Right.
anybody who is specifically saying, hey, can you tell me? Like
Yeah.
somebody reached out to me on TikTok, young girls, and they were looking for car camping in the Hamptons and where to like where could they like and that's
Yeah.
not people go to the Hamptons,
In the
right,
Hampton.
to sleep in the car, but I
Yeah.
told them I know of some spots, so I was like, oh, you got this one and this one and try that one, and I was like excited to be like, this is where you could like
To help somebody.
the
Yeah.
Hamptons in your
Yeah.
car,
Oh my
for free.
God.
You don't have to be in within a
Oh, now you're
mansion.
going to get swamped by van lifers. Hey, where do I park in the Hamptons?
Exactly. Well, anyway, the place you park is like right when you're getting into the 27 is ending, and there's two rest stops. Like right there, it's not nice parking, but it says 24 hours. You may park overnight, and it
Oh,
is a
really?
24-hour free, and it's right at the entrance to the Hamptons.
Oh, I'm
So
surprised.
I think it's for the workers. There's a lot of day
Okay.
workers who come in and people coming in or might need to stay and they can't afford. And so I feel like that's why they did that. And then they don't have signs because nobody really goes to the Hamptons to car
To
camp.
car.
So
Yeah, right.
they
They were
haven't
like, who
gotten
would do
around, they
that
haven't gotten
here?
privy yet to putting the no parking sign in a lot of places. So
But and that's why van life is starting to that's why I'm kind of over it too, because there's so many restrictions now. They don't want you parking anywhere. And then
yeah,
they're just charging so much for RV parks. And,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
any time they see they can make more money off of somebody who, and a lot of people
yeah.
live in their van because they think that you're going to save money. But like I said, no, it's expensive. It's very
And so
expensive.
it
Yeah.
is. I mean, I feel like for me, even car camping, it was $100 a day if I was
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Easily,
The
because you have to fill
gas.
your
Yeah.
tank, which is for me 50 if
Yeah.
I'm moving, and
Yeah.
then there's no campsite under 25 that's safe in
No,
my mind. Hard to
no.
find them. So you're at 75 and then you
Yeah.
haven't eaten yet. So I
Yeah.
mean, easily $100 a day is easy. If
Most
if
RV, most RV places for like a van like mine and stuff, $65. And that's at the
yeah,
low end. 60
Wow.
bucks just for a night. And sometimes I would have to stay because if I'm traveling and I couldn't find somewhere,
Yeah.
you know, so I wouldn't even get in till 8 o'clock at night and then leave
Right.
at like 7 in the morning. So I just paid
Right.
60 bucks
Yeah. Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
park.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. Um, well, tell me all your social medias, like where you hang out.
So I'm active on Instagram and TikTok. That's
Okay,
pretty
so
much
are they both under the same?
never a roadmap. Yes.
Okay, and then
Roadmap. I mean, I do
your,
have a Pinterest, but I don't use it. I just put
yeah,
2 journals on and that was that, you know,
yeah,
and
I
I'm
know
not on
it's hard.
YouTube. I'm not on, I find like it just becomes too overwhelming. I'm not on
Yep,
YouTube. I have a Threads, but I don't post. I mean, it just kind
right.
of came along.
That's what I said. I
So
think that that's how we choose our social media.
yeah,
Like I'm more of a YouTube person
right, yeah,
than like an
yeah,
Instagram person, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And
So
then,
Instagram
and TikTok, and then you have a website.
and I have my website, and my website has just been I blog every once in a while, but it's, where
Yep,
I'll have my merchandise and tells a little bit more about me and
yep,
how to do some brand deals so they can kind of
yep,
feel that out a little bit, which I haven't been
yep,
doing as much, but yeah, yeah,
yep.
I try to fix it.
Well, I will put that all below. And then if you want to send me that stuff about Diane and,
Well, Diane, that we
everything,
put in there. Perfect.
yeah, yeah, I'll put that in there. So
Lovely.
Monique, thank you very much
Nice to meet
for
you.
talking. Yeah, oh, show us the night.
Hasta
Yeah, no, I'm jealous. Wait, do you want to see my fake grapes back here? See those fake grapes? Do you
Gorgeous.
remember those?
So
Remember those
gorgeous.
from like the
Let me see if I
1970s?
can show you a little more.
Yeah, show us a little bit. Wow. What kind of fields are those?
Those are rice.
That is rice, huh?
Rice, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
And tomorrow, no, tomorrow I'm going, this is still city life kind of.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm going into the true country. So I'm very excited about that. And so that's what my plan is for the next 2 weeks to be not where the Instagram social media people really go. I'm going to be in all of the places that they've never heard of. And nobody, when I say I'm going to Papuan, everybody's like, where? Because that's true,
Yeah.
and even locals look at me and go, oh, you're going to Papuan. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
anyway.
That's great.
All right.
Well,
Well,
again, so lovely. I'll put all your information below and
right.
yeah, just thanks so much. And I'll be talking
Yay.
to you soon.
Yeah, and we'll
'Cause-
be more in contact.
yeah, we will.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you,
great.
Monique.
All
Have
right,
a
bye.
great
Lots of
day.
love. All right,
Okay,
bye.
you too. Bye.